This Dark Souls 3 series covers how to do all quests and missable content in order so that all choices and rewards will be available. For best results, follow this series from the start of part 1. There will be spoilers in the form of important information, and as usual, useful timestamps can be found in the video description. At the end of part 6, we had just arrived at Irithyll of the Boreal Valley. In part 7, we'll be covering important questlines to start or continue there and within Anor Londo before going to the Irithyll Dungeon. Beginning at the Irithyll of the Boreal Valley Bonfire, we will go down the ridge and start moving across the bridge. A Sulyvahn's beast will spawn in to attack us while crossing. This can be a really nasty enemy to fight, but if we catch it as it appears, we can get off 2 light attacks on its face before it can move, which should stagger it. We can then go in for a critical hit and finish it off quickly thereafter. Doing so will get us the Pontiff's right eye ring. Make a mental note of where this message sign is on the ground, as we will be returning to it soon. We will first need to run all the way across the bridge and sit down at the central Irithyll bonfire. The small doll key item that we got from the Deacons of the Deep boss will allow us to pass through the invisible barrier. After resting at that bonfire, we can return to the section of the bridge with the message sign while embered. We should now be able to see a gold sign on the ground near it, and we can interact with that to be summoned in Sirris' world, where we will need to help her defeat Creighton the Wanderer. Keep in mind that this is only available if you've been doing Sirris' quest and have not angered her by giving a pale tongue to Rosaria. After defeating Creighton, we can return to Firelink Shrine and speak with Sirris. Doing so will get us the Blessed Mail Breaker along with the Silver Cat Ring. This is one of my personal favorite exploration rings. It won't stop a deadly fall from resulting in death. However, if a fall is survivable, this ring will prevent us from taking any damage at all. I have a quick warning about Greirat here. He will ask us to go pillage Irithyll if we speak to him. However, sending him at this point could result in his death, so we should refuse his request or just avoid speaking to him until we found a certain NPC in Irithyll. Also, if we are doing Yuria's quest, we can interact with her and select the talk option to get a minor update on her questline. Next, we will return to the central Irithyll bonfire and begin making our way to the Church of Yorshka. The enemies in this area are very aggressive and deadly. Because of that, if you want to pick up items and explore, I recommend clearing out enemies carefully as you go through. The other option is to just ignore all of the items, running and dodging past any enemies along the way. After passing the 2 Fire Witch enemies and a couple of Pontiff Knights, we will find a side path to our left that leads up to the Church of Yorshka bonfire, with Anri standing nearby. This next part is important as it has 2 different outcomes, so I recommend watching ahead. If this is your first playthrough and you are going for the Usurpation of Flame ending and achievement, then all we want to do here is speak through all of Anri's dialogue. This will get us the Quiet Resolve gesture. This next step should only be done in New Game Plus if you are trying to get the Pale Shade armor set. Doing this next step will anger Yuria and prevent you from getting the Usurpation of Flame ending and achievement. With that said, if you've already gotten that ending, you can speak through all of Anri's dialogue, then turn around and go to the corner of the church with all of the statues. One of the statues is actually a disguised Pilgrim agent of Yuria, and we will need to eliminate them. Doing so will get us the Chameleon spell. Again, doing this step will anger Yuria and prevent us from getting the Usurpation of Flame ending. With that covered, we can start at the Church of Yorshka bonfire and head down the nearby staircase. If we go to our right in the cemetery while embered, we will be invaded by Creighton the Wanderer. Defeating him here will get us the Dragon Slayer's axe. Before leaving, we can also pick up an undead bone shard from behind the large tombstone nearby. At this point, we can go back to the bridge before the central Irithyll bonfire. At the bridge's center, we will find Creighton's steel mask and the Mirrah chain armor set. We can also make a quick return trip to Firelink Shrine to burn our undead bone shard, then travel back to the Church of Yorshka bonfire. From there, we will head back down the same staircase as before, but this time we will go down the stairs to our left. We'll want to watch out for enemies dropping down on top of us as we go through the dark chamber that follows. We will emerge near a pond of sorts and we will head through it, sticking mostly to our left. If you want, you can go to the right area of this pond to get the Great Heal spell. Before we go through the sewer to our left, let's move straight past it and towards the distant Manor bonfire. We won't be progressing past this bonfire until near the end of the video, but we may as well discover it now. With that, we can double back up the stairs, enter the pond, and go into the sewer, which will now be on our right. There is a staircase straight ahead, and to the left of it, we will find the excrement-covered ashes in a small chamber. We can then head up the stairs to find an Estus soup along with a familiar face. Siegward should be sitting near the fire, and we can speak to him to get the Emit Force spell. He will also give us another Siegward, which we will consume if we continue speaking to him. That said, we should speak through all of his dialogue to make sure that his questline progresses correctly. In addition, doing this will get us his various gestures, assuming that we have not already gotten them. Once Siegward has fallen asleep, we can continue on to the next room. There is a Silver Knight archer watching over this next ornately decorated room. Because of that, we should kite the Silver Knight on the ground floor into the smaller chamber beyond it and fight him there. Before moving on, we can walk up the nearby stairs, turn around at the top, and run over to 3 chests. None of these chests are mimics, and we will find the Leo Ring, Smough's Great Hammer, and a Divine Blessing within them. Moving outside of this building, this next part will only happen if you've angered Yuria and eliminated the Pilgrim at the Church of Yorshka, so this will likely apply to just the New Game Plus players that are not going for the Usurpation of Flame ending. If that is the case, make sure you are embered, then go just barely to the top of the first staircase. Doing so will trigger a second invasion from the Londor Paleshade. Don't go any further here because you will likely attract the attention of 2 starved hounds, and they are a huge pain to deal with. When defeated, the Londor Paleshade will only drop its mannequin claws if this is the first time defeating them. If you defeated them in Fair and Keep already, they will not drop anything. Regardless of our playthrough, we will need to proceed up the stairs and past a really annoying section of starved hounds. There should be a lift to the right of a statue/altar, and taking it will open up a shortcut back to the Church of Yorshka bonfire. We can make a quick trip to Firelink Shrine to give the excrement-covered ashes to the Shrine Handmaid. For New Game Plus players, if you defeated the Londor Paleshade Invader in both Fair and Keep and in Irithyll, you will find the Paleshade armor set near Yol and Yuria's spot in Firelink Shrine. Since we found Siegward in Irithyll and spoke through all of his dialogue, it should now be safe to send Greirat to go pillage there. You can apparently also get patches to look out for Greirat if Siegward is no longer alive. But that probably won't be necessary or even an option if you've been following this walkthrough series closely. In any case, this next part is optional, but we can buy a black firebomb from Patches and leave it at the crow's nest above the shrine to get a Titanite chunk. That should bring us to a total of 2 Titanite chunks, enough to reinforce a weapon of our choosing to +7. Next, we will go back to the Church of Yorshka Bonfire and make use of that shortcut we just unlocked. At the bottom of the lift, we will move straight ahead, up the stairs and through a small building. After going up another set of stairs, we can run past 2 Pontiff Knights and down another set of stairs to open one last shortcut back to the Church of Yorshka Bonfire. This next part is optional, but there are 2 rings that we can get in this general area. First, we should go eliminate the fire witch that is down the stairs that are in front of the shortcut we just opened. Doing this should cause the nearby cluster of deadly foes to begin their patrol, away from where we will be going. We can then go through the shortcut door and up to the area outside the next major boss chamber. From there, we can drop down to a slightly elevated area and pick up the Ring of the Sun's Firstborn. Dropping down, we can then roll through a nearby illusory wall and grab the magic clutch ring. With that handled, we will return to the area outside the boss room chamber. There can be up to 3 summoning signs here. The first is only present if we're doing Yuria's quest and is for the Londor Paleshade. We have to be Embered to see the summoning sign, and this is another chance to get the dual bow gesture if we did not get it earlier. The next summoning sign is for Blackhand Goddard, and this is an opportunity to get the By My Sword gesture if we did not get it earlier. Finally, there is a summoning sign for Anri. We don't get any gestures for summoning them, but they are a nice companion to have for the boss fight ahead. Be sure to equip the Symbol of Avarice after defeating the boss for a boost in souls gained, and you can pause now to avoid spoilers. For everyone else, Pontiff Sulyvahn is a tough boss, probably the toughest so far. He has a lot of dodge-catching attack patterns that really punishes panic rolling, as well as running away. I found it best to roll around him rather than away from him, while employing an overall aggressive playstyle. Phase 2 starts at around half health. Sulyvahn will emit a burst of damaging darkness, then summon a shade to help him fight. The shade is relatively easy to defeat, but doing so will only result in Pontiff summoning another one soon after. Still, that is a great window to deal damage in, so it is worth trying to line up attacks so that they hit both Sulyvahn and his shade. Equipping the Symbol of Avarice after the fight will get us an extra 11,000 or so souls, and we will also get the soul of Pontiff Sulyvahn, which can be exchanged for one of 2 unique rewards at Ludlith. After discovering the nearby bonfire, we can go to Firelink Shrine to spend our souls. In addition, if we are doing Yuria's questline, we can talk to her to get another update on her questline. Moving on, we will return to the Pontiff Sulyvahn bonfire and move out the nearby exit. There are 2 rock lizards here, and each drops a twinkling Titanite. If one disappears before you can get it, the exit to main menu and log back in trick can be used to get it to respawn. Next, we will move up the nearby curved staircase and across the courtyard full of giants. There are 2 hostile NPCs here, and I recommend fighting them in the following chamber. One of them will drop the Drang Twin Spears when defeated. There is an illusory wall in the back left corner of this chamber. After dispelling it, we can slide down the ladder into the water reserve. There are 2 Sulyvahn's beasts down here, and we can sneak up on the first one by running along the left-hand wall. This should allow us to stagger it before it starts moving and quickly defeat it thereafter. The other beast is a different story, and I'm not convinced that it can be snuck up on. Because of that, we will have to face it head-on, and these things are very annoying. It is quick, aggressive, and deals a lot of damage. The only advice I can offer is to not be greedy and always make sure that you keep enough stamina to dodge when needed. After both beasts are defeated, we will get the Ring of Favor and the Water Reserve Bonfire will appear nearby. We can discover it, then go interact with Archdeacon McDonnell to join the Aldrich Faithful Covenant. We can then go back to the nearby ladder and climb it out of this pit. Next, we will run up the nearby staircase to the upper towers of Irithyll. We'll want to watch out for all of these Silver Knight archers as we ascend the rightmost support structure. Near the end of it, we can drop off to the right to grab the Easterner's ashes, then go up the nearby staircase and along the more central structure. We should eventually reach an entrance to this cathedral of sorts. This next part will depend on choices made previously in the game. For New Game Plus players, if we have angered Yuria, there will be a giant statue to our right as we enter. It is illusory though, and we can roll through it to reach a large empty room, with only a set of brass armor to pick up. However, if we are following Yuria's questline, the giant statue will not be there. In addition, we will find the Pilgrim NPC from earlier here, at the bottom of the staircase. We will need to speak with the Pilgrim to get the Sword of Avowal key item. We can then proceed into the next chamber and interact with a different NPC to complete the Rite of Avowal. You can pause now until you do that to avoid spoilers. Interacting with the body of Anri will complete the Rite of Avowal and get us 3 Dark Sigils. That should bring us to a total of 8 Dark Sigils, which is what we need to get the Usurpation of Flame ending and achievement. As a quick warning and reminder, having the Firekeeper heal our Dark Sigil will lock us out of this ending and achievement, so avoid doing that. Before leaving this area, we can exit out to the main menu and load back in. Doing this will cause Anri's Straight Sword to appear. We can then backtrack, grabbing the Chameleon spell on our way out. Regardless of our playthrough, we will all need to exit this circular chamber on the opposite side and pull the lever to our right. Ascending the spiral tower, we can interact with the lever at the top to reach the Anor Londo bonfire. After discovering it, we will want to make a quick detour back down the spiral tower. At the bottom, the bridge that appears to be cut short actually has an invisible extension, which we can cross to reach the prison tower bonfire. Nearby, we can speak with Yorshka and perform Darkmoon loyalty to join the Blade of the Darkmoon Covenant. This can only be done if we have the Darkmoon loyalty gesture, and may be unavailable if we've angered Sirris. If we talk to Yorshka a couple of times, she will ask a question. How we answered does not matter beyond her response. Finally, we can drop down the prison tower's interior to get the Painting Guardian's armor set and curved sword. Dropping down the rest of the way will bring us to the Church of Yorshka Bonfire. If you are following Yuria's quest and got Anri's straight sword, you should now be able to purchase Anri's Elite Knight armor set from the Shrine Handmaid, which is what I did because I like how it looks. If you're not following Yuria's quest, you will need to complete a few more tasks before you can get this armor set. Starting at the Anor Londo bonfire, we will move up the grand staircase. The front entrance cannot be opened from this side, so instead, we will need to go through the tower to our left, where we can also pick up the Giant's Coal. Once we've gotten inside the main building, we will need to descend down a couple of narrow staircases, and we can find an Estus shard in a chest that is to the right of the front entrance. A deep accursed enemy will drop from the ceiling, and I recommend interacting with the lever to the left of the double doors first, to open them just in case of death. Just take care not to catch the eye of a Silver Knight outside, like I did. The Deep Accursed will drop the Aldrich's Ruby Ring when defeated. This next part is only for New Game Plus players that are not following Yuria's quest and have instead eliminated the Pilgrim Assassin in the Church of Yorshka. If that is the case for you, and you are embered, you should find a gold sign near a prism stone just outside the double doors. Interacting with it will summon you to Anri's world, where you will need to help them defeat their version of the next major boss. I will cover strategies for this boss fight in just a moment when we face it in our own world. After doing that, we can return to Firelink Shrine. There, we can give the Giant's Coal to Andre the Blacksmith to unlock the Lightning, Simple, and Chaos infusions. We can also reinforce our Estus Flask. For New Game Plus players that just aided Anri at Anor Londo, we can go speak with Ludolith to get Anri's straight sword. Because we told Anri of the Smoldering Lake, we should find her there, where we previously found Horus. You can pause now until after getting there to avoid spoilers. In any case, once she has been handled, we will finally be able to purchase her Elite Knight armor set from the Shrine Handmaid. Regardless of our playthrough, we will all need to go to the Anor Londo bonfire and make our way up into the building. The next major boss chamber is at the far side of the building. Don't forget about that trick with the Symbol of Avarice, as it will get you a lot of extra souls, and watch out for the arrow attacks. You can pause now to avoid boss spoilers. For everyone else, I don't think Aldrich Devourer of Gods is as difficult as Pontiff Sulyvahn. However, I do think it is the boss with the highest likelihood of dying after it is defeated, which can cost us a whole lot of souls. For the first phase, just watch out for the Fanning Arrow attack and get in close for easy damage. The move that is super likely to cause death after defeating the boss is the Arrow Storm that is used during the second phase. This creates a hail of arrows that will actually track us for some time, even after the boss is defeated. Because of that, I recommend focusing solely on evasion when Aldrich raises that bow to the sky. As an extra precaution, just don't defeat the boss while that move is active. Quickly equipping the Symbol of Avarice after defeating Aldrich will get us an extra 25,000 souls. We should also get our second Cinders of a Lord and the Soul of Aldrich, which can be exchanged for one of 2 unique rewards at Ludlith. After discovering the nearby bonfire, we can take a nearby lift up to the top floor. We will be returning here later for a quest, but for now, we may as well grab the Sun Princess ring. Next, we can return to Firelink Shrine to spend all of our souls. Greirat will also be back, with new items in his shop. For everyone following Sirris' questline, we will go to the cliff underside Bonfire, then make our way to the boss chamber of the curse-rotted Greatwood. While embered, we will find a golden sign for Sirris. Interacting with it will summon us to her world, where we will need to help her defeat Holy Knight Aldrich. After defeating him, we can drop down into the nearby pit and grab the sunset armor set near the Pit of Hollows bonfire. We can then travel back to Firelink Shrine. Sirris should be there for us to speak to, and she will ask us to accept her knightly vow. Doing so will allow her to be summoned for several future boss fights. I don't believe that there is a good reason to refuse her, but if we do, then at some point, we will find her in the Pit of Hollows. Regardless of what we do, we can also go outside of Firelink Shrine to find the Sunset Shield. It's down the second path to our left, in front of a tombstone. Finally, let's defeat one more invader and get to the Irithyll Dungeon. Starting at the distant Manor bonfire, we will head down the spiral stairs and out to the cliffside. Alva, Seeker of the Spurned, will invade us here if we're embered, and we can even get a backstab on him to start the fight if we position ourselves well. He drops the Mirrah sword when defeated. Afterwards, we can head down the stairs to find and light the Irithyll Dungeon bonfire. If you're having trouble with or just need some clarification on anything that was covered in this video, you can reach out to me in the comments where I will do my best to help. The Irithyll Dungeon will be covered in part 8 of this series. You can find that over on my channel, and if you're new, consider subscribing. You're helping me feed my cat, her name's Marshmallow. Have a great day. If you're here today, have a great Thursday, and as always, thanks for watching.